Starts right now.
3, 2.
Okay, Patty. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, June 24th. I'm Sam here with Jeff. Miss Tori has the day off. Well deserved. We miss you, Tori. We know she's having some FOMO. Big time. If you guys don't know what FOMO is, it means fear of missing out. And I know that Tori's probably watching us from home being like, hey, I need to get back to the studio. Love you, girl.
Definitely.
Brandon joining us from home. How are you, Brandon? Looking good?
Thank you very much, and I'm inspired by Jeff's DIY segments that I put up my own jersey in the background.
Love that. I was just going to compliment
going,
you on
baby.
that. That looks terrific
Except
back there.
it's his own
I
jersey.
use the toothpaste and everything.
What jersey do you have?
I didn't hang up a jersey.
Oh.
I have like remedies for keeping moths out of your house. We'll watch it later.
I love it. Looks good, Brandon. Looks good. All right, let's get to the top of the story. So the surge in coronavirus cases is getting worse. 5 states set single-day records for cases yesterday, and 7 states reported new highs for current coronavirus hospitalizations. That includes Texas, Arizona, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. So yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci was testifying on Capitol Hill. Did you watch it? Well, he talked about what he called this disturbing surge. Take a listen.
Right now, the next couple of weeks are going to be critical in our ability to address those surgings that we're seeing in Florida, in Texas, in Arizona, and in other states.
Wow. Okay, so Jeff, do you think that, Dr. Fauci, in my book, is the expert.
Right.
He's got the clout. He's got the experience. He's been dead on this entire time. Do you think Americans will change their behavior in the next 2 weeks?
I don't know, Sam. I'm not hopeful for it. And again, we're talking about a small percentage. I think people are still nervous about socializing, going to restaurants and things like that. But we have to look at what we've done 2 weeks ago, right? That's where they get the numbers from. That's where the surge comes from. People don't want to admit this, but I think thousands of people getting together for whatever reason it may be, whether it be to protest or a sporting event. That's why we're not back to sporting events yet. The social gathering just around neighbors, bars opening up, restaurants opening up. I think they're all attributed to these numbers, and I don't know if it's definitely not proven yet, so we can't say that. But to me, logically, that's what goes into the numbers. So I don't see anything other way than people just kind of breaking the social distancing, getting tired of it, and getting together. So I think personally that's where the numbers are from. But he's a doctor. What do I know? I'm an idiot, you know? That's
well,
the
you're not
truth.
an idiot, but he is a doc. He is a doc, that's for sure. Okay, so Brandon, this next story, oh my gosh, we were all texting about it last night. So us hosts all have a texting thread. So there is some relief for Bubba Wallace today. After this overwhelming show of support from fellow drivers, the FBI revealed yesterday that there was no evidence of a hate crime. They say the noose, which you see here, that was found at his garage stall, was actually a garage pole and had been there as early as October of 2019. So Wallace is reacting to the news, and to all the folks who are now calling it a hoax, listen to what he said on the Today Show.
I was relieved, just like many others, to know that it wasn't targeted towards me. It's still frustrating to know that, people are always going to test you and always just going to try to debunk you. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around now from saying I'm a fake and all this stuff.
Wow. According to a number of people, Brandon, at NASCAR, as well as the FBI, as well as his fellow drivers, this did not come from Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace never went into his garage and reported that he saw a noose. This came from NASCAR. They're the ones that interpreted that. They're the ones that launched the investigation. And Bubba Wallace, according to everybody that matters in this investigation, claimed that Bubba Wallace had nothing to do with it. He simply was just, I guess, he's a victim no matter what, because now people are calling him a fake, Brandon.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, Sam, because now I feel as though people were looking for a reason to try and find something wrong with Bubba Wallace. If you think about it, anytime someone comes out and they speak out against a social injustice or something that's going on that's used to being the norm, especially when you're playing sports, not only do you have to win, but you have to walk a tight path, because people are going to constantly be picking at not only you're on the field, but you're off the field. In this case, you're on the racetrack, off the racetrack. But when I heard about this, Sam and Jeff, I kind of called you this morning to talk to you. I had 3 prayers that I put out in the air to God when I found out about this, because I prayed that there wasn't someone out there that was that stupid after all this momentum and after all these allies that we have rallying behind Bubba Wallace and just black lives in general, that wasn't going to be that stupid to go out there and put a noose out there. I also prayed because I feel is that this is see something, say something type thing, because remember, like you said, it wasn't anyone from Bubba's team that went and alerted NASCAR. It could have been a white NASCAR official that saw it and was like, hey, this is wrong, I'm going to report it. And my last prayer is because that lasting image that will be in all of our heads forever, when all of NASCAR, the employees and the drivers, were walking behind him in solidarity, and then that selfie that he took with everyone to show that we are unified, and there's a unified front against racism, the Confederate flag, and anything that's going to go into this, in the social injustice in this sport and in this world. So that lasting image is what I hope that we Americans and the world can take with us forever.
And Brandon, we talked about this morning. You hit the nail right on the head. Relieved. That's the only word we need to look at. Every interview I saw, he said relieved. The rest of America should be relieved too that this never happened. The president of NASCAR informed Bubba Wallace of this. If the president of your company comes to you and says, hey, we're going to investigate a hate crime, you're going to say, hey, thanks for getting my back, man. And you know what NASCAR did? All the drivers, all the other pit crew teams, they supported them. That's what's important. If you want to say there's no racism in NASCAR and that this wasn't a good thing in the end, I don't know what you're looking at.
Let's focus on the positive.
Yes,
the unification right there and the relief. Okay, so looks like Bill Cosby. He's going to get another day in court. A Pennsylvania court ruled yesterday that the actor will be allowed to appeal his conviction. The 82-year-old is currently serving a 3 to 10-year sentence for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman at his home in 2004. And a lot of people are talking about his wife and what Camille Cosby would say. Well, recently she did speak about his conviction, calling it racially motivated. This is what she told ABC News, quote, the Me Too movement and movements like them have intentional ignorance pertaining to the history in particular of white women who have from the very beginning accused black males of sexual assault without any proof whatsoever. Wow, Brandon, there's so many layers to this story. I just want to say it off the top. Of course, there's a disproportionate amount of men of color who have been victims of false accusations. Of course, there's a disproportionate amount of men of color who are locked up because of false accusations, historically speaking, from white women. But in this case, Brandon, there is evidence. And yes, we're only focusing on one woman because the other 4 women, their statute of limitations ran out, but there are 4 women who have all shared the same story. Brandon.
Absolutely, and I agree with Ms. Cosby and I agree with you as well, saying when it comes to disproportionately black men that had been locked up because of this. And she mentioned the Emmett Till, and she mentioned that it was a white woman that said that a black man had said something to her for the Tulsa riots as well. But I believe in this case, I'm glad that it's going to the highest court in the state, of the Supreme Court, because if you think about it, Bill Cosby had a testimony in a civil court that he was supposed to get immunity to. So I want, if it goes to this highest court and this appeal gets knocked down, then we can throw out that case of, oh, there's racism involved with it, and just say that, hey, you were allowed your day in court and your appeal. And we'll see what happens after the Supreme Court reviews this.
Wow. Yeah, I just, you're right, Brandon. You're absolutely right. But I also do worry about further re-victimizing,
Yes.
4 alleged victims. I have to say alleged, I guess, now that it's brought back up in the court system. Coming up on DBL, our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, joins us to talk more about COVID-19 and the basics on how to navigate certain public spaces. Don't miss it.
Pets are family.
not fear, right? Providing information to keep you and your loved ones safe. States are opening back up, and I think we're all itching to get outside into something that resembles a normal summer. We all hope. But before we do that, we should know some basics on how to navigate certain public spaces. Jeff was talking about how you have to like sign up to go to your pool.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're really enforcing social distancing. Well, we do have Dr. Pialcoli here joining us live. Hey, Doc.
Hey guys, how are
Hi.
you?
We're doing good. I'm glad that you're here because before we get to some viewer comments, Dr. Coley, if we are out and about, we need to talk to you. Naturally, someone will eventually need a restroom, right? But is it true that a toilet flush can spread the virus? A lot of people are talking about this online. And because we're hearing this, do we now also avoid public restrooms altogether?
So yes, Sam, it is true that one flush of the toilet can spread the virus. In fact, I was surprised when I saw the data because one single flush can actually generate 6,000 aerosols, and 40 to 60% of those can go about 6 feet into the air. So it's a little gross, I have to say, but you can imagine that if somebody who has the virus and doesn't realize it goes into the bathroom before you, and we know that the virus lives in your small intestine and it can be shed into the stool, and then they pull the flush and you get those 6,000 aerosols coming up, a lot of the surfaces in the stall can get contaminated, and then you go in right afterwards and you could end up contaminating yourself. We also know that public restroom social distancing is hard. We know that the ventilation system generally tends to be poor and they're very small spaces. But having said all that, I would strongly advise against avoiding public restrooms if you need them, because risks of things like urinary tract infections can go up. So I have a few tips for precautions you can follow. So first, I would say wear your mask. And if you have sunglasses, put on your sunglasses too to protect your eyes. I know you look a little silly, but it'll keep those aerosols out of your eyes if you're going into a public restroom. Second, don't follow somebody right into the stall. So if someone's just gone in and pulled the flush, maybe wait a few minutes before you go into a stall or use a different stall. Third, try to touch as few things as possible. So lay down toilet paper, use toilet paper to open, lock and unlock the stall, and then make sure you wash your hands really thoroughly. And I think if you do those, you can safely use a public restroom, but just be really mindful of that risk.
All right. Or college Sam comes back and she pops a squat.
Hey, it's safer. It's safer.
No, I think you can get a ticket for that. Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry.
You spray everywhere too.
It's tough times. Now I'm going to use a public restroom. They're going to be like, hey, that guy from DBL is wearing sunglasses. He didn't flush his toilet. What a weirdo. So at least we're being safe, Doctor. Let's get to this next question. Dr. Coley, we're coming up on a major American holiday when normally tons of people would be traveling. For those who do venture out of town, obviously, what should we know about staying in hotels? This is important.
Ooh, good question.
You guys, there's this great picture that Al Jackson has on his Instagram. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. He's got a Ziploc bag on his hand, and he's using his finger to push the elevator button through the Ziploc bag. So it's very inspiring to me to see that picture because it shows exactly how mindful you have to be when you stay in a hotel. So the biggest risk from staying in a hotel comes from contact with surfaces. So here are a few things you can do to minimize that risk. So first is try to stay in a room that someone hasn't stayed in for 2 to 3 days before. Sometimes that's not possible, but if it is, try to request it at the reception. Wipe down everything when you go in there the first time. Try to avoid getting housekeeping every day because that's one less person coming in and out of your room. Use the stairs instead of the elevator so that you're avoiding those small spaces that people frequent. And if you're going to go to a common area like the pool or the ice machine or whatever, make sure you put on your mask.
All right. And see, I do that here. I spray like the doorknobs. You thought like, geez, Sam, because your hand slipped.
Wait, she put on an excessive amount, Dr. Coley, of hand sanitizer. And when I went to leave the dressing room, it was like I almost broke my wrist, Dr. Coley.
He's telling on me to Dr.
Well,
Coley.
Sam's got a little baby at home.
Thank you.
She's got a little baby at home, Jeff, so she's got to be careful. But you got to put it on for that 30 seconds, Sam.
You don't leave
just
puddles
cut
around
corners.
the office.
I want to see you too, Jeff.
I will leave puddles around the office. Thank you, Doctor. We were supposed to get to viewer comments. We were selfish again. We apologize. We'll see you tomorrow, Doc. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. Now, the final season of OWN's hit series Greenleaf has premiered earlier. Erica spoke to Emmy-winning actress Lynn Whitfield about the show's success in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Mama, you invited me to the wedding.
Because your father made me. If I had my way, you would be sitting under a tree in the Potter's Field with a dunce's cap on in the cold swinging shadow of your favorite Bible hero.
Naomi?
Judas!
Lynn Whitfield, Queen, thank you so much for spending time with us today on Daily Blast Live.
Thank you so much for having me. And Queen, wow, that's a big word.
Now, just for folks to know, Greenleaf is actually the #1 scripted cable show on television. What is the secret to the show's success?
I think that it's successful because we talk about a lot of hard issues: homosexuality in the church, molestation within the family from family members, rocky marriages, so many things that, you know, are recognizable. And I think our writers have done a magnificent job. I'm so pleased about it.
Right, and we as viewers are pleased as well because, as you just illustrated, you can kind of find a piece of yourself in some of these characters. And sometimes it's not a great reflection of who you might be. Sometimes it's a very positive reflection, but to see yourself presented on the screen is just a really powerful thing. So it's no surprise that the show has been successful, but now we're coming into the 5th season. It's the final season. What are you gonna miss most about working on the show?
Our Greenleaf family, we're a tight-knit group, and I will miss deeply creating those magical moments with Keith David as Bishop Greenleaf. In 5 seasons, we never had an argument, never had a crossword. I mean, really, it's probably the most successful marriage I've ever had, you know, in that I think it's so entertaining and classic. I'm really gonna miss working with Keith David.
Lord, we need you now.
You were with a group of 7 Hollywood icons, including Angela Bassett and Halle Berry, and you spoke to the New York Times about the history of Black women in Hollywood. And I think it's so important during this time, especially with Black Lives Matter. What message do you want to give to women who are coming up, women who you've paved the way for in terms of what the next chapter should look like for Black women in media and Hollywood?
It's very important to have mastery over your craft, which is a continuation. We're always working on being better at what we do. And secondly, now in this time of Black Lives Matter and what will be happening in the industry, I also made a statement in that interview that said, you know, Black women, we are not a monolith. We come in so many shades, so many sizes, so many authentic fingerprints of who we are. There is nobody else. Through that authenticity, we bring the thing that maybe no one has seen in the work that everybody does. And I would just encourage young people coming on to appreciate your authenticity.
Queen, Miss Lynn Whitfield, thank you for spending time with us on Daily Blast Live.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to check out the 5th season of Greenleaf on OWN. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Time of year, did I say Colorado? Colorado this time of year, we're gonna have to redo this again for the next show. So I came up with an easy solution. Here's the week's DBL home hack presented by American Home Shield. All right, guys, so I'm back with another home hack, and if you know me, you know I love summer. As you can see, I just came from the pool. But the one thing that comes with summer that I wasn't expecting living out in the suburbs of Denver is moths. I hate moths.
Get him.
Wait,
No, run.
So I found a safe and easy home hack you could use to deter moths. All you gotta do is spray it all over your door or window, wherever you don't want the moths to go. Let me know if this works. All you need is a little spray bottle, some distilled alcohol. You can actually use vodka, some essential oils, preferably ones that smell like floral, really deter moths. So I have lavender and frankincense, and I don't even know what frankincense is, so we're going with lavender, and just a little distilled water. So all you gotta do is put a ½ ounce of distilled alcohol in there. We're gonna put just a little bit more. So I'm gonna put my lavender in there, and then you just take some distilled water. Let's go outside and spray this. And all you gotta do is spray. Moths are gonna come in. You wanna try it, Papa? Here, spray it on the side. It does smell pretty good. So guys, let me know if that works. This is a good home hack. I'll definitely let you know if mine works. When it comes to your home, American Home Shield warranty helps cover many things homeowners insurance leaves out. Call American Home Shield.
Oh man, I wanted to make fun of
moths.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye guys. Moths.